my teeth, I got a lot of shine. Running up the number, that's a lot of crime. Try to take it from me, must be out your mind. I'm big time, lot of slime. Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Pockets running over with the dollar sign. Try to take it from me, yeah. Big time, big time, big time, big time. Running up the numbers, that's a lot of crime. Try to take it from me, must be out your mind. Lot of signs, smoky in the air, that's a lot of crime. Just running over with the dollar signs. Try to take it from me. Big time. I got a lot of shine. Running up the numbers, that's a lot of grind. Try and take it from me, must be out your mind. I'm big time, lot of shine. Smoky in the air, that's a lot of crime. Pockets running over with the dollar sign. Try and take it from me, from me, from me, from me, from me. Big time, number 9. Down in my teeth, I got a lot of shine. Numbers, that's a lot of crime. Try and take it from me, must be out your mind.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to a Wednesday edition of Your Sports Network's Power Hour right here on Ysn. DJ Yoakley, Scotty Bencher with you. We got Rob and we got CJ and we got a couple of guys on the way. But first, as we do each and every day here on the Power Hour, we go to the national celebration of the day that is. Today, it's National Pastry Day. National Pastry... Wait a minute. No, this is tomorrow's, right? Today's the 8th. Oh, yeah. They try to pull a fast one on us here at the Power Hour. Okay, let's... Hang on, boys. Hang on. I was already talking about my favorite pastry, which we'll hear about tomorrow, apparently. It is... There's no days today? Are you serious? Maybe that's why they gave me tomorrow's day. This is messed up. Anyway, let's go ahead and do Pastry Day. We can do another day tomorrow, National Pastry Day tomorrow, but we're celebrating it today. So, CJ, what is your favorite pastry?
That's a great question because I love so much. I would have to probably go with pie. I love any type of pie.
What's the creme de la creme of pie?
Favorite? That's a great apple pie, probably.
Because it's America.
American classic.
You're damn right. You're damn right. Scotty, what is your favorite pastry?
I was thinking about this before we hit the air because you said this was the national day.
I messed up, Scotty. You don't have to tell everybody about it.
Does a cinnamon roll count as a pastry?
Sure. Why wouldn't it count?
Because then that would be my favorite. Cinnamon roll.
Okay. I like it. Let's go down to Romo. Welcome, first off. And what's your favorite pastry here on the quasi-National Pastry Day?
I'm not too big of a fan of pastries, but I mean, I like donuts. I mean, that's pretty simple. I'll just go with that. I like chocolate donuts. That'll be my favorite.
Chocolate cake donut?
Oh, yeah. With sprinkles.
That's where it's at. All right, Donnie Ricks, what do you got?
Well, does a puff pastry count?
It's got pastry in the name, so it has to.
then beef Wellington it is, because it's a big juicy steak in the middle, buddy.
Rob, how about you?
If cake's a pastry, I would say my fiance's. Oh God, what is it? It's the pistachio cake. It's unbelievable.
Ooh.
Icing is
Oh, yeah.
unheard of.
I like it. That's the one you speak of so highly, right? We talked about it a couple of months ago.
Probably, it's amazing.
Love it. Here's one that's going to throw you off, because I had no idea this was actually considered a pastry, but pretzels are considered pastries. And a shout out to Sheets and the cheese-filled pretzel. I don't think, like, I can't live without them. I cannot do it. I'm going to be anywhere close to a Sheets, I'm getting a cheese pretzel. And that goes back to the old school days when they used to give them away, or I guess you have to buy them, at lunch in the East Palestine elementary or middle school cafeteria. Sorry, Mom, breaking the news to you a few years later that it didn't go towards the great food that they had in the cafeteria. It went towards snacks. And every day I got the cheese pretzel. So there you have it, a little reason of why I'm a type 2 diabetic at 36. So happy National Pastry Day to you all. Let's go to Rob. Rob, what do you have for our Would You Rather, brought to you by our friends at Barrett Brothers Fine Hardwoods?
All right. Would you rather be able to read minds, or would you rather be invisible?
Ooh.
We've done this before. I know we've done the read minds before because we talked about playing baseball with it. We were talking about reading the pitcher's head.
Do you got another one?
I do have another one. I don't know if we did the be invisible with that one or not.
I don't think we did.
All right, let's do this one then. Give up all holidays or give up all vacations?
Give up all holidays or give up all vacations?
Mm-hmm.
Like going on vacation?
Yeah. So you can either keep celebrating your holidays or you can go on vacation, either one.
I don't go on vacations very often, so I'm going to say go on vacation.
That's part of my
Romo
games right there.
10 seconds he gets on here and he's already getting fan mail.
It's honestly my favorite part of the games, is the post-game
Post-game?
interviews now.
Yeah, they're fun. They're fun
Love
to
putting
get.
them together and just, it's fun.
All right, holidays or vacations? Which one are you giving up, Donnie?
I'm giving up holidays. Vacations are very near and dear to my heart, and I love that every second I'm away from my home when I'm on vacation, because I go all out. I like to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and snacks in between. And if there's a sun and a beach and some water, I'm good.
All right. Okay. Romo?
I'd definitely go giving up vacations. My family hasn't been on vacation in 12 years, so and we just don't really travel that much. So
I'm in the same boat, dude. CJ?
Yeah, we travel every year down to Myrtle Beach. That's a tough one, though. I don't know which one I would give up. I would probably give up vacation, just because I adore the holiday seasons and they're my favorites.
Scotty?
I have a big family, so there's like these huge gatherings for like holidays. I like it. It's cool getting to see everybody and socialize, but because it's kind of like redundant and the same thing every year, and I don't get to go on vacations as much, I think I'd give up the holidays, because there's still a lot of places I'd like to see. I like to travel around. I never been to New York City, although I've heard some people say it smells really bad. But I'd still like to maybe visit the new Yankee Stadium and see New York City and a bunch of other places all over the world. So I give up holidays.
All right. Rob, I'll let you put a bow on it. So I'm going to say I don't go on vacations much, but it's nice when I do because I try. Like, I went on a cruise. It was the last vacation we were on, and I loved it. And I didn't think I would because I couldn't work on vacation, and I finally just like I couldn't because you can't get Wi-Fi without paying through the nose for it. So couldn't do anything with YSN, and I loved it. Being able to be disconnected for a couple days when you have no outlet, there's no other choice. I absolutely loved it. So I'm gonna give up my holidays because I feel like during the holidays, it's like you're working double time. You know what I mean? A lot of people are working double time. You're getting everything ready for the holiday, then you actually have the holiday, then you have to have the families around with the holiday, which I love. Don't get me wrong, but it's a lot of work. So I'm gonna go where I don't have to work. I'm gonna keep the vacation. Rob, what say you?
I mean, vacations are fun, but the holidays we usually have a blast. So I got to keep the holidays.
I like it. I like it a lot. That's a good round, gentlemen. So that was your Would You Rather, brought to you by our friends over at Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Visit them on the web at bairdbrothers.com. All right, we got to start this off. What an unbelievable night for basketball it was in the Valley. A couple, some really good games, and then we had a couple that were legendary, like this one.
Tyreek Ivory gets it across half court, pull up three ball. Off glass.
A little kiss.
Clock continuing to run. Cheney gonna have to get this inbounded. Ball on the ground. Moy with the steal. Stevenson, three ball.
Called it a two. It was on the line. They called it a two, and the game is over.
No way. They called it a two. It was 1 point last week. And the students are storming the court. Wow. What a finish here from Cheney. Raiders storming off the court. Wow. A good call in my opinion is it did look. You know, we had Stevenson there. He kept pump faking. I thought his foot was close to the line, and ultimately the decision was made that, yes, it was just a two-pointer, but one of your all-time finishes here on YSN Live last week. Cheney, 1 point losers. Now, the victor.
So there you have it. That was Jamie and Romo on the call. Surprise, surprise. They get another unbelievable game here on the network. That game, as well as the Jackson Milton Heartland game, came down to a buzzer beater. Jackson Milton pulling that one off. Romo, take me through that game last night. Two great programs doing battle. Cheney, the number 2 program on our power rankings this year, brought to you by Armidas Kachina. When you think about that team and what they've been through and what they're going through, that maybe people don't know about, how big is that win last night for them?
Oh, that was huge, especially after last game against Boardman. They were down by 16. They were down 48-32 with 3:30 left. They fought their way back and then missed a three-quarter court shot at the buzzer that went off the back of the rim and out. So just to be able to hold on to that game, and that's another game. They went down early. Jamie and I thought, Harding was one shot away from kind of putting the nail in the coffin. It was hovering between 8 and 10 points like the entire third quarter. Cheney was losing by, and then call them the cardiac kids, I guess, because the fourth quarter comes out, those Cheney kids just erupt. But I talked to you before I came on, DJ. Like you said, we've done some good games here on the network. I've done Springfield Norwayne with the Boilermaker play, Springfield Coldwater State Championship, Springfield Poland 5 overtimes in basketball last year. Just the intensity of that game last night was insane. There was like 6 dunks, 4 block dunks, because on the Harding side, you have Dom Foster, who's a Syracuse football commit. On the Cheney side, you have Clive Wilson, who's a Boston College football commit. You also have Jason Hewlett, who's hurt. He's a Cincinnati commit. There was just so much athleticism. It was just spewing out on the court all night. And it was just insane. I this morning, because I like to put together little highlight tapes after the games, this morning that was like some of the most fun I've had. I actually had to delete clips because videos for Twitter can only be 2 minutes and 20 seconds, and my video is like 2 minutes and 40. I had to delete like 4 clips. But you'll see, and there's just no atmosphere. Jamie and I have said this. There's just no atmosphere like at Cheney. I don't know what it is. It's not the biggest gym by any means, but it gets so loud in there. Like, Boardman was a great crowd because Boardman's such a big school and it's a big community, so they're going to bring a lot of people. That game last night didn't have as many people, but it was just as loud. I mean, it was probably 3/4 full on each side, but just the atmosphere with the students and the cheerleaders going along with the cheers, and the students are banging on the bleachers and clapping, and it was so cool. Thank you, Chris. It was so cool, and just that ending was insane because Harding inbounds it. They're down by 6 with 17 seconds left, and Tyreek Ivory comes across. He had 27 points for Harding last night. Comes across, banks in a 3, and in high school basketball, you guys know the clock doesn't stop running, so it's going, and then Duncan Moy steals the inbounds for Harding under the hoop, dribbles all the way back out, gives it up to Peyton Stevenson. I thought at first glance that it was a 3. I mean, I would have hated to be the ref in that situation to have to call it a 2, because thank goodness that a lot of the noise is blocked out by our mics, because the Harding faithful is not happy after that call. That's for sure. They were right behind us and they were not happy, but they called it a 2. And like you said about Cheney playing these big teams, you think about it. So they started off the year with 4 D1 teams with Fitch, Reynoldsburg, Boardman, and Harding. Then they play undefeated Howland Friday night. And then next Tuesday, Akron St. Vincent St. Mary's comes to town and plays at Cheney. And I think the coolest dynamic of that is this past Saturday, St. V's was playing at the Staples Center against Sierra Canyon. And then now they're going to be playing at Youngstown Cheney. So hopefully it's another good game. Jamie and I will be at Springfield this Friday for their season opener against Crestview, and I'm sure that it's going to be a great game as well. I know on Springfield's side, you have Rothwell, you have Wary, and then you have Cusick on Crestview's side, or Bo Brungard on Springfield's side too. But yeah, just
Who's that?
I heard he's pretty good at football. I don't know about on the basketball court, but
He's excellent at basketball.
yeah, he's.
If you don't know, he's just an overall athlete. And we joke because we talk about Bo so much, and I know he's just a humble kid. But reality is what's funny is you talk about that Springfield basketball team and you forget, right? Because when I think of Bo Brungard, I think number 21 and all decked out in his football gear. I don't think about number 20 on the basketball court.
And another thing I want to add about Cheney real quick too is so many people kind of wondered how they would perform this year after losing Sherrod Taylor, Quincy Jones, Cam Lawrence, who were 3 of the best players in the area, and they were all on the same team. This team, and they made a big improvement from just the Boardman game to this game. So they have DaVinci McDowell, senior, Isaiah Williams. Those are their 2 senior leaders. Last night, DeJuan Waller was their leading scorer. He had 19. He's a 6'4" sophomore. You have Cam Sly. He's a 6'4" sophomore who gets a lot of minutes on that team. You have Clive Wilson. I think as the season goes on, they're going to get so much better. And the thing that is very unfortunate, I would say, for our district is once you win the district, it's very hard to get past that because you're going to have to play most likely St. V's in the regional semifinal. But who knows? Cheney's going to see him next week. If they can put up a good performance and learn from the mistakes they make, if they run the table, I mean, there's obviously a long ways to go, but if they can run the table and they meet up with them again, who knows?
Cheney's not going to back down from anybody. And that's the thing that I love about Coach Marlin. He says, stack them up. Let's play some ball. Is Hewlett back yet?
No.
He's not. I don't know if he'll be playing this season at all.
Okay.
I mean, if they get him back, that'll be huge, but I just don't know what the severity that injury had from football season. And the video kind of cut off of the ending right before. It was crazy. I don't know how to explain it. Like, it was like being in a movie, like just looking around behind you, the fans are going crazy. In front of you, they're going crazy. and you cut the video off. Well, you hit the outro right before. You see me fly in front of the camera because there was so much chaos going on, and I had never spoken to Coach McGahee before, so he wouldn't know who I was to want to get an interview after the game. So I'm thinking the whole time, like, get up right away and go over so you can get his attention. And the next thing you know, fans are rushing the court and all this stuff's going on. And I got McGahee, Coach McGahee, and I got Da Vinci. So it was everything ended out going well.
I cut it off because there was a little bit of trash talk going on between the players
Oh,
and the fans.
Yeah,
So I was like,
that
oh,
was another. It was a wild scene, but
it was awesome. That's what you get with Youngstown basketball, and we're back at those days. And congratulations to Cheney. The question I have for the panel today, guys, is you saw that clip, and he was shooting a 3 by all intents and purposes, but they called it a 2 because his foot was on the line. Can you talk to me about, in a game-winning situation like that, are there any comparable situations that you've seen to putting your foot on the line just by a toe? You know, just by, like, not even an entire foot, you're not over the line, you're just on the line. Are there any comparable situations of disappointment in a game-winning, or I guess in this case a game-tying situation, that you can think of that you've seen or been in or, you know, can imagine at this point, such as that? Because to me, I know it's easier said than done. You're not going to sit there with the time running down, look down, and make sure both your feet are there. You know, you got time for one dribble maybe, and then chucking it up. Can you think of anything like that you've seen and you're like, oh my goodness? Donnie?
Yeah, I mean, it's not as comparable, but it's a similar situation when the when the Rams and the Titans played in the Super Bowl, and he was just inches from getting into the end zone, right? So, I mean, it's unfortunate that was the call, and you know, obviously the kid tried to shoot a 3-pointer. He wouldn't have tried to backpedal a little bit to get there, but I mean, hey, a lot of things have to happen. First of all, you have to make the shot. You know what I mean? And that's almost impossible to do. So he had to steal, right? Oh, and Romo, you forgot that Cheney has Boardman at Poland on Saturday as well. So
I forgot about that. I did see that this morning.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah,
wow.
but dude, by the way, you're doing a phenomenal job calling those games too, because I was at the Boardman game, Boardman Cheney game on Friday, and I got text messages galore saying, "Who are these guys doing this game? They're awesome. They're amazing." I said, "They're two of the best, that's for sure." So, kudos to you guys. But yeah, dude, that Cheney team, man, I'm telling you, I was telling everybody they look like a college team. They're subbing in dudes that look like they should be in college. It's ridiculous. They look like Youngstown State coming out on the court.
Yeah, both those teams last night, and this is another thing. I was joking about this with Jamie at halftime. Like, at half, we were running ads, and I went out into the main area, and I had to go use the restroom. And I'm walking out there, and I'm like, we're all like the people like my height, like 5'9". All these people from both schools are like at least 6 foot, and I'm like,
yeah,
no wonder both those schools are so well in athletics, and they've put out so many big names. That's another cool thing. I don't know if you guys have ever been in Cheney's school. When you walk in, you see Brad Smith, you see Zordich, you see all their greatest players, and then right in front of you, there's just a Heisman Trophy sitting in the trophy case. You don't see that very often.
What's nuts, guys, is we talk about it all the time, and it's one of those things. As you get older, you start wondering what happened to those guys. Like, I think, Donnie, it might have been you and I having the conversation, off screen, is when you used to go to the mall and you saw Boardman and Canfield and West Branch, all these guys in their varsity Letterman's jackets walking around, you were like, that is a man. And now,
right.
Kids are my size. They're 5'4". Like, imagine somebody in the Southern Park Mall with a East Palestine jacket on that's 4.5 feet tall, not even, and you're like, what is that kid supposed to? That was me. I was representing East Palestine. So from that standpoint, you look at Cheney and you look at Warren Harding. Romo, to your point, those are men. Like, you walk out in the main concourse and you're looking up and you're saying, oh man, like, I want to watch that. Whatever they're doing, I want to watch, because they're probably doing that at a high level. What is it about that nowadays? Does anybody else feel that way, that when you walk in, you see these kids in the varsity jackets, you go, wait a minute, those are middle schoolers, right?
You immediately, like I know, just when you see some of these kids, the first thing I want to do is immediately just go on my phone, look up their name, and see if they have any offers from anywhere, because there's just so much talent here in the Valley too. It's like when you walk in the mall and you see these people, it's like, oh well, give it a few months till football season comes or basketball season. I'm going to see them on the news. They're going to be interviewed or something here on YSN, for example. It's just crazy. And in both those schools, they have kids to look out for. Like I said about Sly and Waller on the Cheney side, 6'4" sophomores that probably still have some growing to do. And then on the Harding side, they had Duncan Moy, who was a 6'4" sophomore himself, who has a really pretty shot. I think he just didn't have many go down. It might have just been a bad night shooting, but if that kid gets hot, he'll probably be a name to watch out for here in the Valley for years to come.
Rob, is basketball coming back in the Valley? Do you find yourself enjoying it a little bit more watching the games?
I'll tell you what, those watching the highlights last night, and I mean, just like you're talking about the size of these kids. Whoever that one monster is, I don't know what university. What did you guys say? Is either Syracuse or I think it's the other kid. He's
Boston
huge.
College.
Boston College,
Yeah,
but that's
Clive
probably
Wilson.
it. I couldn't believe the size of this kid and the way he's moving too. But I'll tell you what, like Donnie was saying something the other day about Cheney and the Boardman game, and then I was seeing even Canfield got this. Looks like he's 8 feet tall. I was watching,
Right.
and I'm looking at all these kids, and I'll tell you right now, it has more to do with it's those damn steroids in the cows. That's what it is. They're trying to make these cows grow up faster, while these kids are drinking that milk, and they're just ballooning up. So, I've been seeing that for a while now, but now, I'm telling you right now, the basketball season around here, the way it started, it seems like it's going to be absolutely bonkers by the end of the season.
Yeah, we're excited. We're supposed to have close to, if not over, 1,000 games of basketball here on the network this season. So we're excited for that. CJ, as a coach, as a guy that very close to the players over. I mean, you're the head coach of the Beaver. What is it? The Beaver
Bobcats.
Bobcats. I almost said Badgers. I was close. Talk to me about. I mean, you see these kids and the size of these kids. Some of them, you sit there and you go, "Oh my goodness!" Like you wouldn't want to get in a fight now with those kids. And some of those kids, you're like, come on, man, drink some milk or something. Like,
Yeah.
Get some of that mush milk that he's talking about. That came out wrong. Let's go to the question I have for you is, what's the deal?
Well, generally in varsity athletics, you're going to get basically the best of your program, whatever that may be. For baseball, you're not going to have the tallest kids for baseball. Basketball, it's obviously different. I went to Beaver Local yesterday and did their game. I walk into the gymnasium, I'm looking around, and these kids are 6 foot. I'm 5'7". I'm like, well, shoot, I'm like, I'm just gonna go sit in my corner and announce this game for you guys. But as far as baseball goes, I mean, the kids they're all taller than me. They're all bigger than me. They can beat me up. Sometimes you just sort of have to have that presence, and they listen to you. It's just whatever size you are, if you have a presence, you make it yours. People will follow you. And but for basketball, just looking around, these kids are huge and they're good. And doesn't matter your size for the most part. I think if you have a presence about you, you can do some good stuff.
Scotty, from your standpoint, you loved watching the network last night. Talk to me about what you loved about it.
Yeah, the game was thoroughly entertaining all the way through. And then that ending, DJ, like, I don't know why. Maybe it's because, I'm wearing the brown shirt today again.
Probably.
But when you talked about, like, coming so close to tying a game but coming up short, two things immediately popped into my head after watching that game last night. And the two examples were the Reggie Miller game against the New York Knicks when he actually tied the game doing that. He actually hit the threes to tie it up, I do believe. They came just short from the naked eye. I got to be honest. I thought we were going to OT and it was a tie game. I'm like, this is unbelievable. But the other thing I thought about was, um, someone going in for a winning score, like Ernest Biner in the 80s, when he was going in and that end zone looked wide open, and it was for the tying score, but at the last second he gets the ball stripped and fumbles it out. That's what immediately went to my mind with not really. I saw some exciting finishes and game winning shots in sports, but nothing game that could have possibly been game tying like that. As a fan, anyway. Obviously, I never played, organized sports, but as a fan, that was one of the more fantastic finishes I've seen, and I can't wait to continue to check out more and more games on the network throughout the season.
Love it. We got a lot more to talk about. We got to take a break. One of the things I want to discuss, guys, is there's a referee shortage. Did you know this? Did you guys know about the referee shortage? So let's talk about why there's a referee shortage when we come back. I have a couple thoughts of my own, but I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to hear from you at home of why referees don't want to suit up on the stripes anymore. It includes umpires as well. So just officials in general are not looking forward to doing games anymore, and they've had enough. So there's a referee and official shortage, and we'll talk about it when we come back right here on the Ysn Power Hour.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
For a great vehicle and a great experience, come to Boardman Mitsubishi today. As always, our full lineup of Mitsubishi models comes with a standard 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Boardman Mitsubishi, your hometown Mitsubishi dealer since 1999.
Coca's Pizza, always supporting our community and our local athletes. Stop in on game day or score big and have it delivered right to your door. Check out our daily specials at cocaspizza.com. That's Coca's Pizza, we serve it hot.
At Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Fish, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
Some breaking news out of the professional sports world, and I know it doesn't tie in, but CJ will understand this. Vail Resorts Incorporated announces it's buying Seven Springs Mountain Resort, Hidden Valley Resort, and Laurel Mountain Ski Area for approximately $125 million. CJ, the same guy that owns Seven Springs and all that stuff owns the Pittsburgh Pirates, so you wonder if the Pirates are next or if the dude sold the wrong side of his his diverse folder or portfolio.
Yeah. Oh,
I just
there
want him
ain't
to
no
sell the
way he's
Pirates.
giving up the Pirates. So it's just
One time. Maybe he sold it to get a new arm for the Pirates, or maybe we can afford some of these big players. Not going to happen. Gentlemen, before we went to break, I wanted to discuss and use this segment to discuss the official shortage in the country right now. Not just the state, the country. People do not want to officiate games of any magnitude, whether they're youth or whether they're, from a standpoint of high school athletics and amateur athletics. There is an official shortage. Why is this official shortage happening, and is it possible to resolve it? Let's start with let's go to Romo first. Romo, what do you think about this official shortage?
I totally understand it. I think I've said so many times during my life of going to sporting events that I've looked at someone I'm with and I would say, I could never be a ref. Just the way that people handle them during games. Like when we were talking about before break, a time where we've seen a game where someone makes a game-tying shot, but the foot was on the line. I witnessed that once. I used to do clock and scoreboard for Hubbard Middle School basketball games, and there was a shot at the buzzer that they thought it was a 3, but the kid's foot was on the line, so they lost by 1. And just some of the words that the parents said to the refs, and I'm just like, they're kids. Like I've umpired before for Little League baseball. It was like an emergency role. I had to fill in for someone else, and I was just one of the first people who got called. I got yelled at. Like they're like 7. Like what? It's not that big of a deal. And especially at like even the high school or college or professional level, I mean, they make one bad call and the home fans are formally chanting explicit words at them as a collective group, and it's like there's comes a time where you just got to sit back and be like, it's just a game. We all love it. We all want to act like it's our lives as well, but it's not that serious.
Donnie, why is this official shortage happening? Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
He still looks good.
He still looks great. The hair looking good and the beard looking even better. Rob, why are we facing this official shortage?
I've been around youth sports for many, many, many years, and I've heard some of the most irate things come from the most decent people that you'll ever hear in your life. So keep in mind too, it's not just the abuse, because the abuse is going to happen. I'm going to probably exaggerate, but I'm going to say close to almost every single freaking game. And let's be reminded too, these men and women do not get paid barely enough. I mean, you're talking about referees that handle, let's say, Little League football. They might be getting 60, 80, maybe $100, not even. And compile that, you got the abuse, you got the low salary, you got the COVID-19 coming, you got the restrictions there. When you start accumulating all these things, I mean, what are they supposed to do? There's no way in hell that, I mean, me personally, I couldn't be a ref, because I'd be the first one in stripes to go take my whistle and throw it at the parent and tell them, you go do this crap then. So I feel bad for every single ref that actually has to endure all the parents, all the not just the parents either. You're talking about coaches. I mean, can you imagine taking some crap from players? I've seen referees toss players from games that are 10 years old because of the things they said to the ref. So, I mean, you talk about one hell of a profession. My hats are off to them all. I would give them all the kudos in the world because they deserve it for the crap they got to put up with. So you can't be surprised at all that there's not a referee shortage. That there is a referee shortage.
I've seen more fan ejections over the last 3 years than I've ever seen in my life. Like, it has been unbelievable. I saw one the other night, and it was a fan was taping the game on his phone, and the referee made a couple calls that apparently were questionable to this gentleman, and he was showing the referee, like, running it back for him, and the referee finally said, "You're gone."
That
And we had
happened
to
last
wait.
night after the Cheney Harding game. Someone from Harding had recorded on their phone, and they got up in the ref's face and said, "Look, I recorded it too." And I'm like, "What do you?" There's no instant replay. Like, there's no review. They're not going to change the call. That's what it boils down to. It's like, is it really worth getting thrown out for something that you know they're not going to change? And they're not even going to remember your face after they throw you out 5 minutes later.
Oh, they'll remember your face. Trust me, I do know that. They remember your face very, very well.
Fair enough.
Donnie.
No, you remember the bad always over the good. And if you get into it with a ref, we've actually had this problem when I used to help run the Charlottesville Wildcats. We had a ref, and he came to show up and he did the games. But I'll tell you right now, he had it in for us, and it's because of the things that he went through with our fans. So believe me, they remember you who you are.
Donnie, you're muted, but I'm going to give you the floor here.
So, you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so the only drawback is when you first start out as an official, you don't get those varsity games, you don't get those high-end games. You get stuck in the games where the parents are the worst. and when you first start out, you're thinking to yourself, like, I'm getting screamed at because this 8-year-old kid blew a layup, maybe double dribbled or had a traveling called against them, and I'm being told like I'm being too hard on the kid, let him get that double dribble or whatever. It's like, well, I got to do the stuff that I need to do so I can move up in the ranks too. So, when I coached, and it's weird, when I coached, I still am very, very respectful to officials. But when I coached, I made sure if any of my kids were disrespectful to an official, they'd be on the bench for the rest of the game. These guys work really hard, and like Romo said, there's no instant replay. They don't have that luxury. They have to make judgment calls, and they have to make them as quick as they possibly can. So they are going to make mistakes, just like everybody else in life. So the shortage stinks because there's a lot of these old guys that are running around and they don't want to be. They want some younger guys to come in and take some of the games from them. So, I feel really bad for them right now.
Is there a way to fix it at this point, or have we gone too far in beating up referees for things that really they have no control over or little control over?
Good luck if you come up with a game plan, because I'll tell you right now, the reason you're having a shortage is because we've put them in that position. So are you going to go around and you're going to get everybody on board with, treating the ref, or just reminding them, hey, listen, these guys, these women, they're not getting paid a lot. They got to deal with you. They got to deal with the coaches. They got to deal with your bratty ass kids. And then all of a sudden we're going to get somebody on the same page, get everybody on the same page and say, hey, listen, it's just not cool anymore to diss the refs. I don't see that happening. What you're going to have to basically get to a point where what's going to have to happen is something bad's going to have to happen, and the bad is going to be there will be games that are going to end up being canceled because of these shortages. So once everybody starts realizing that, oh, you know what, instead of me calling this referee a cowhopper or whatever derogatory term you want to throw out there, maybe you should, mind your own business and calm down. And like Sigler was saying, half the parents that are yelling at the top of their lungs barely understand the rules. And yet you're going to nail somebody to the cross that it literally is trained to understand these rules. Now, again, keep in mind, I'm going to the bat for the refs right now. Don't get it twisted. Some refs make some pretty bad calls, and we all know that. So I don't want to totally make them out to be saints. But once these parents and once these coaches understand that, wait a minute, our games are getting canceled, now maybe you should talk to each other. Now, start doing some soul searching and even talk to your kids and see if that can't help.
Scotty, wake up!
DJ, you got me. Good. And that was the first time in a while. Well played, DJ.
So, Scotty, what's my question for you is, how many times have you blamed the refs on a Browns loss, or how many times have you actually given credit to the refs on a Browns victory?
I would say, as far as a Browns loss, the only, because the Browns have been so bad for most of my life, except for like last year. Like I can't really pin too many games on the refs other than maybe the Bottlegate game, which I was at as a little kid, a youngster. And then I thought it was a pretty obvious in the Chiefs game.
Oh, here we go.
There should have been that penalty in that playoff game. But other than that, I mean, again, like Rob was getting to, are officials saints? No, you got to cut them some slack. They're human. So those are only two games off the top of my head in my entire life I could remember watching sports, and I remember back from when I was 5, 6, 7 years old, and I'm 33 now. So two Browns games in my entire life I could really, maybe if I wanted to, make a case against the officials and the officiating. But um, I just accepted, man, that if you want to win, you got to take it out of the officials' hands. You got to play your best and be at your best, because there's gonna be mistakes made. There's gonna be blown calls, and especially like basketball, to me, it just seems like on the surface. And again, I know a lot about basketball. I wouldn't say I'm a basketball god, but I know a lot about the rules and the officiating. But it's, so fast paced. I think it might be the hardest of all to officiate. And on the youth and high school level, like Rob said, these guys are making peanuts. So you couple that with, if they make the right call, it's like, okay, you get no credit. That's what you're supposed to do. If you don't, you're totally slammed. And on top of that, we're still dealing with the effects of a pandemic right now. So it's just a mess, man. But I just, as a fan, I don't really. There's been a couple times I'm like, man, I wish that call went different there. That was a really bad call. But as a fan, it's hard for me to put games on officials unless it's something so egregious like the pass interference. No, I think it was a no call in the Rams Saints game a few years ago. Unless it's something that's just so obvious that they don't call, I really cut the officials a break.
CJ, from your standpoint, as a coach, as someone who's been around the game of baseball, baseball probably has the biggest casualty to see in the future with officiating and umpires. How do we fix it in the game of baseball to have officials come back out?
That's a tough one. I don't know if you can really fix it. Mostly because it's been going on for so long that the decline is just it's rapid. We're seeing it in Beaver County, where our guys are basically either retiring or dying off. Like, we just don't have enough umpires, unfortunately. Part of the problem is that the kids that are supposed to become the next umpires don't want to do it because they see how people treat those umpires. They see how their parents treat the umpires. They don't want that to become them. In the 5 years I've been coaching, I've had one player go on and actually become an umpire. He was a Little League umpire. I watched one of his games because he did a Beaver game. And he threw out a mom. Because she was just, yelling at him for an hour and a half. It just blows my mind how in a Little League game, I was so embarrassed to be a Beaver resident, be a Beaver coach that day. I'm like, geez, My God, what's your kid's name? I'm going to sit him on the bench for. I'm partially kidding, but it's just good God, it's just so embarrassing in that regard. Just if you're a community member and watching that happen, um, the the main thing I think is it just needs to be, as Rob said, it needs to be a complete sort of looking at yourself in a mirror, right? Thinking to yourself, if I was in that guy's shoes, would I want, 500 people yelling at me over some little mistake maybe I made, or maybe I missed a call, or whatever. Like in a football game, in baseball, for baseball, I'll go with baseball. We got two umpires having to watch an entire game for 2.5 hours. You have a guy behind the plate with probably about 200 pitches being thrown in that game. They're not going to make every perfect call, right? That was a thing I learned when I first got into coaching. The first thing I learned is keep your mouth shut when talking to an umpire, because as soon as you start getting on his case, you're never going to get a call again.
No, it's simple. In baseball, it's called know the code, right?
Yeah.
Catchers have to know it. The staff has to know it, and head coaches have to know. Managers have to know it. You know the code. You don't argue balls and strikes. If you want to argue bang bang plays, that's fine, but you stay away from the strike zone unless it's absolutely absurd. Yep. And I think we've gotten away from that because you hear a lot of people. You see all these movies, right? Everybody's seen Remember the Titans and all the bad that officials do. And listen, officials are people just like us, right? I've been an official before. I'm sure many people on this panel have done a game or a few games under their belt. If that was your means of compensation, you don't want to hear it from everybody all the time. And a lot of these parents, and we know now with YSN, a lot of these parents don't understand the game, actually. They just know that they want to yell at somebody, and that official is going to be the first one that's going to hear it. And now that there's announcers at the game, guess who's second on that list of getting yelled at for?
Oh, I've heard it.
Yeah.
From announcing that 10-year-old classic in Boardman. The team lost 20-something to nothing, and I got yelled at.
Yep.
Because they thought I was being too nice to the other team and too harsh on the team that lost. I'm like, I'm here announcing a game for you guys. Like, I'm sorry that you guys lost, but I had nothing to do with it.
It's bananas. Everybody's looking for a scapegoat, and the officials are the easiest to poke at because they're the ones that quote unquote dictate the game, right? So we're gonna have more discussion about this for sure. I want to make sure that we have some time for obviously the spark. The same problem we're having with the recruiting officials is happening finding coaches as well. Listen, if that's the case, and I think it is, we're in big trouble, boys. We're in big trouble, and this is not a situation where it's going to get better in the next 5 years. I don't see it happening. So, good conversation. Appreciate your guys' input on that because it's not an easy topic to tiptoe around. You kind of have to go right at it. But speaking of going right at things, it's time to go at somebody or something with today. Today's Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark, presented by our great friends over at Joe Dickey Electric. Anything commercial, residential, anything commercial, you have to, and I mean have to, go to the official electric supplier of your sports network, right there. You go to Joe Dickey Electric or go to DickeyElectric.com. Excuse me. Let's go Scotty first. He hasn't let off the Joe Dickey Electric spark in a while. Scotty, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna be jolly. It's the time of year. I got 2 positive sparks today. My number one, and this will probably be the only. It's definitely the only time this year. It might be the only time in the next 5 to 10 years I say anything good about the team in Pennsylvania, but I want to thank that team for helping out the Browns this past week. And giving me a little more hope wearing this jersey and knowing the Browns, as they say in Dumb and Dumber, still, you're telling me there's a chance. The Browns still have a pulse. So that's my first one. Big kudos to Mr. Watt. And then my second one is just being here at YSN. I'm not one of those guys that is going to tell everybody about all the problems I deal with from a mental or physical perspective, but YSN, it's always like medicine for me. You know, I don't feel great every day, and there's a lot of things I battle, but every time I come here, it doesn't always necessarily fix everything, but it makes things better, and that's all I could ask for. So that's my two positive sparks.
We love you, Scotty. I love hearing that, man. I do. I really do. You mean so much to all of us here and all of everybody at home. Everybody loves you, so you're a proud part of and a big part of what we do here at YSN. CJ, what do you got?
Yeah, so positive spark for me. Our baseball team has started their winter workouts last week, and as a coach, I'm so proud of the hard work that they've put in this last week and a half. There's a different energy about our program this year, something that I haven't felt since we won Whitbeals, went to states in 2019. I really think we're going to do some really fun things in 2022, and just the senior leadership that those kids are showing. We got 10 really talented seniors, and I'm very excited for what we can do next year.
Well, maybe, fingers crossed.
Maybe YSN can be a part of that.
Maybe we'll be a part of it too, buddy. Maybe we'll be able to watch that and all your dreams come true. Let's go down to D-Rix in the man cave. Or no, you're in the kitchen. Aw. He's frozen again. All right, Rob, you're up.
So I got a call from the mayor of Charlotte the other night, and this poor woman has had her Christmas lights display cut 3 different times. Cut, just somebody hating on her. Just straight up went up and cut her display so you can't find it. Whatever. This one's been dealing with this for 3 times. So first of all, ma'am, I'm so sorry you have to deal with that. I am so sorry that people are lower than my expectations for the Browns this season. Whoever is out there doing that kind of stuff, it doesn't care about how much time and money people invest in this. I'm going to assume that you're a basket case and that you wear sandals in the winter. And then here's what I need you to do. I'm going to say a prayer tonight that this happens to you every day. Every day you leave your house and you close your front door and you have one of those screen doors that kind of pumps slow for a bit. I pray to God when you go to take your first step away that screen door catches the back of your heel on that sandal and rips your heel to absolute shreds every freaking time. You're ignorant. You're the epitome of the word douchebag. Get a life, grow up, and please be better at life.
Oh, man. Oh, that's rough. Donnie, can you hear us now?
I can hear you, knuckles in a row.
He's getting robotic legs again.
Do I sound like a robot?
Like in Star Wars Return of the Jedi when Leia goes to Jabba's palace?
He sounds like JP from Kramer's Boy. I'm a robot.
Mr. Robot.
Just let him kick it out. Do the whole spurt in that voice.
Go ahead. Do it for the robots out there.
For today,
That's great.
Say how much for Han Solo? Say it.
How much for Han?
Oh my gosh.
Why?
Let's get. I'm sorry, Donnie. I can't take it.
His laugh sounds so demonic.
Is that any better?
I have tears.
Bye, buddy.
I have tears.
Romo, what do you have?
My positive spark has to be just all the talent that we have here in the Valley for basketball this year. It's going to be a real exciting year. I mean, we've already spoken about Cheney. You have Trey DePietro and Boardman. You have Terrence Pankey at Ursuline. You have Alex Rothwell at Springfield. What I find interesting, too, is there are a lot of football players that play very well on the basketball court, but just the amount of basketball guys that we have that are so good that that's their only sport. And I think that's huge for the Valley when it comes playoff time. I think the teams with the most guys that are solely basketball players, they're the ones that make the deep runs because they build that chemistry throughout the year, and that's all they focus on. So I think that with the emergence of so many guys, and it works with other sports too, with baseball and football, it's a sight to watch, and it'll be fun to watch for the next few months.
Let's try this one more time. Donnie? Can't hear you at all this time.
There it is! Oh my God, he's back!
E.T. phone home. Oh, dude.
I'm gonna get robotic legs. It's a risky operation, but I think it'll pay off.
Jeez. I'm gonna go. My spark is last night. You have all that. You have people sending us highlights from games that we didn't even have. We didn't have anybody at the Jackson Milton Heartland game last night because we didn't have enough announcers. And then we got people sending us awesome highlights of that buzzer beater there and saying we don't want the credit. We just want to make sure that these kids get their highlight out there. I love this Valley and I love the sports in this place because it's so great. It's almost like a team working together. To make sure that all the kids have the ability to be seen from a program standpoint. So I'm just so grateful and so excited about the future and so excited basketball's here. I wasn't sure whether I would be. I wasn't sure if burnout was starting to set in, but now I'm excited. I'm now more excited than ever. We've got wrestling on the network tonight. We've got basketball on the network tonight. Donnie's daughter is going to be in action in a big game against Salem. That's going to be a must-see. McNuggies is going to have the call for us tonight. And I'll have more information tomorrow, but we're accepting an award tonight from Crestview that I'm really excited about. It's the Rebel Pride Award. And I'm just honored to be able to accept on behalf of everybody that has done games on YSN. And being that Crestview was one of our first 4 schools, I'm just so grateful that they said yes 4 years ago to doing this, because if it wasn't for schools like Crestview and Latonia and Salem and South Range, we wouldn't have the opportunity to do this show, and we certainly wouldn't have the opportunity to utilize the other 48 schools, over a dozen organizations, the Scrappers, the YSU baseball, the list goes on and on. So thank you a million times over. Mr. Robot, you want to take us to our break for the day?
Do I still sound like a robot?
No, now you can't do it. Oh, go ahead.
Wait.
You get your spark now.
Wait, do I sound real now?
You do.
Yeah. I do exist?
He exists.
Hey, listen, your spark was amazing, DJ, and I'm sorry that you didn't get a chance to bow tie that one. But I do have 2 really, really positive sparks, and one of them you mentioned, Mackenzie gets to get back in action tonight against an amazing Salem girls basketball team who I have a lot of very dear and fond memories of. Those girls down at Salem are amazing. That community is amazing, and the support that they get is absolutely amazing too. But then I have a really good spark that I was able to go on my lunch break today to Mahoning County Children's Services to drop off 52 coats and 50 pairs of socks. And they took me to to their store. It's not necessarily a store, but it's a big room at the Children's Services that's all done up like it literally looked like Toys R Us for some of these underprivileged kids and some of these kids that are getting placed in some pretty tough situations. They get to go in and with their counselors, and they get to do a little bit of shopping, per se. And man, that walking into that room really put in perspective how big the hearts are in our valley, and how awesome people are in our valley. So I was really, really pleased to see the amount of support that organization has received.
Wow, that snuck up on me, man. I can't thank you enough. As someone who has foster kids, I thank you for everything you do, because those kids have it so tough, and there's so many different things that they go through that nobody understands and nobody realizes, that we don't even realize, and then they're in our home. So thank you for that. Thanks to everybody that contributes. We would love to contribute from a corporate standpoint. Because I know firsthand what those kids have to go through, and if you can't be a foster parent, contribute to those who can be, because it's these kids, they need all the help they can get at this point. So thank you. I appreciate that so much, and I know they do too. So that is going to put a perfect bow on today's show. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for contributing. Thank you for being part of our family here at YSN. We'll see you tomorrow for another great show right here on the network. See ya.
YSN thanks you for watching this presentation of Your Sports Network.